In Mesa, Arizona, the world's top aerobatic pilots have gathered for the first Hilton Masters of Aerobatics, a competition of flying the old-fashioned way, with stick and throttle and small light planes that recall the early days of aviation.
So wow, this is a blast from the past. They did 3 Hilton Masters of Aerobatics. First one was in 1981. It was in Mesa, Arizona, which is in Phoenix. The second one was in 1983. That was also in Phoenix. And the third one they did just south of me in Miami at the Homestead Airport in 1985. So 81, 83, 85 is when they did them. And Barron Hilton was head of the Hilton Hotels, and he was very generous in sponsoring the U.S. aerobatic team over a couple of world championships to get us over to Europe, which was very expensive to get our airplanes over there. So we always, put Hilton Hotel logo on our airplanes over there to honor him and, to pay back, with a little bit of advertising for him. And one of the team members, Don Taylor, was involved in the U.S. aerobatic team, and he got to know Barron, and he came up with this concept for the Hilton Masters. And the cool part about this is when you go to a world championship, everybody sits there and they know who's flying because it's their specific airplane. Don Taylor came up with this concept, presented it to Barron, and we did these 3 things there. And the Pitts factory basically gave us like 2 or 3 airplanes that we could use. And when we all flew the airplanes, the judges didn't know who was flying. That was the very key difference in the Hilton Masters of Aerobatics. In the first, I think the first one, which is this one, 1981, we flew a Pitts S1T, which is a 200 horsepower engine with a constant speed prop. And that was probably the most performing airplane that we did. In the last 2 Hilton Masters of Aerobatics, we used a Pitts S2B, which was designed as a 2-place airplane, had a little bit bigger engine, but it was a bigger airplane, so it didn't perform as well as the S1T. And of course, neither of these flew as good as the Weeks Special or the Weeks Solution, which I'd been flying. And anyway, so it was a lot of fun. I won the first 2 Hilton Masters, 1981 and 1983. But what happened was when it went to Miami in 1985, I was not as focused on my practicing and what I was doing. I was more focused on entertaining everybody. We had a party at my house. We all went water skiing. I lived on a lake. And it was interesting because the airplane that we were flying at was about, I think it was probably 15 miles south of Tamiami Airport, which is where the Weeks Air Museum was. And every day we were down there, I flew a different airplane down to the practice side. I mean, it was a Sopwith Pup or a P-51 or a Curtiss Jenny, a P-40. It was really, really cool. So I was more focused on entertaining than it was. And in that contest, I ended up 3rd. So it was interesting too, because these people that were brought in from around the world, it was by invitation only, and they were people that were well known within their countries at the World Aerobatic Championships. So we had people from the United States, there was 3 of us, Gene Soucy, Henry Hagan, myself from the United States. We had people from Canada, Switzerland, England, Poland, and South Africa. So it was a really fun time. It was a great group of friends. And I really enjoyed it, so I hope you will too. This is 1981.
This is Falcon Field in Mesa, Arizona, just east of Phoenix, the site of the first Hilton Masters of Aerobatics competition.
This afternoon, we're going to be seeing some of the world's most exciting aerobatic flying. The pilot in the cockpit is required to make split-second timing decisions. As you can see, the arms, hands, and feet movement require super precision. And at 200 miles an hour, they must be perfect. The G-forces you'll be hearing us talk about this afternoon are positive and negative. This is a negative G-force as evidence of the blood rushing to the pilot's head. Notice the veins around the eyes and the strain that the pilot's enduring to push this aircraft around the maneuver. The G-forces are trying to push the pilot straight out of the cockpit. They perform these maneuvers in an imaginary 1,000-meter cube in the sky. This cube is 100 meters off of the ground. And if the pilot should go out of this cube, he is assessed a major penalty. The pilots have been here practicing for some 2 weeks now. They've completed their known, unknown, and freestyle flight. They have the 4-minute final freestyle flight to go.
Thank you, Leo. And here are the standings after 3 rounds. As you can see, the United States has the first 3 places with Kermit Weeks in the lead at this moment. And now the leader coming into the final round. This is Kermit Weeks, living in Miami, 28 years old. Been flying aerobatics for 8 years. That gives rather a Texas-type yell going out.
Jack, we've talked about the trademarks in the air. Well, the trademark on the ground for Kermit Weeks is his yell. It loosens up Kermit, certainly loosens up the crowd, and it helps him get ready for his flight. We're in the control tower now as Kermit awaits his clearance for takeoff for his flight.
Starter 2 pitch is clear for takeoff.
There he is, getting clear for takeoff. And while we wait for him to get up into the competitive airspace, let's take a look at why he is coming into this final phase of the competition with a lead.
We have some pictures of a flight Kermit made earlier, the unknown flight. The unknown flight is what separates aerobatics from all other sports. It's a flight that has not been practiced before and given to the competitor 12 hours prior to flying it. This puts tremendous pressure on the competitor to memorize it. Before, the competitor doesn't look at the card much, the sequence inside the airplane. But now, he's going to have to refer to it much more frequently. Kermit's just executed a nice tail slide. He's down, he's inverted now, and he's doing a 3-point roll, 120-degree segments now. Very unique maneuver.
And with a performance like that, Kermit Weeks comes into this final phase in the lead. And here he is.
We're back in the 4-minute now, Jack. Kermit rolls the airplane right side up. He's picking up speed, pulling about 7 Gs here into the vertical for 3 points of a 4-point roll.
And here's what he needs in this performance to win this competition, 2,695.7 points.
Jack, he certainly has a performance that will give him that score. He's down now. He's picking up speed. Uh-oh. He's on the low line. That's one thing Kermit cannot take as a low penalty. I don't think he exceeded the low line, but the judges will have to tell that.
That means 100 meters above the earth, right?
Absolutely. Pushed across the top, nose down. 2 points, 3 points, 4 points. Well executed 4-point roll on a 45-degree downline. Quarter roll, a fishtail. He caps this maneuver off in a torque roll. He's back 1 turn, 2 turns. He's got a good one going. 2.5 turns.
My, that's just like standing the plane on its end, isn't it?
That's what we try to do.
Here he comes again. Is he too low?
Well, only the judges can tell. He's certainly down on the low line. It's a 2.5 turn vertical snap inside. He caps it off. That maneuver is called a Kermit. He invented the maneuver.
How's he looking so far?
Well, if he does not have a low penalty, he's certainly got the contest won. Right here. One thing he's checking for very closely is time. Remember, if he goes over time or under time, that could cost him it.
And of course, that's all in feel, isn't it? The time?
No, he has a watch
Oh, he
inside.
does.
Sure does. We're seeing another inverted falling leaf. Now, this is not the quality of Gene Soucy's falling leaf. It's a good one, but again, he's playing it a little conservative.
Well, he can afford to, but it's like every other sport, I guess. You can get too conservative, can't you?
Oh, you can. There's his wing rock. I think Kermit feels very good about that flight.
And as those judges confer...
Okay, no penalties on time.
Oh, no penalties for Kermit Weeks. Let's take another look.
Kermit's pulling up into his fishtail again with his torque roll, and if there were no penalties, Kermit certainly won the contest. I don't see any way that he could be overtaken. His torque roll. Now, you asked me earlier about the smoke. Smoke is actually filling the cockpit. It's in his nostrils, and it takes a few seconds to clear out of the cockpit.
But he won't mind because he scores 2,961 points. That's enough to give him this first Hilton Masters of Aerobatics championship on a beautiful, lovely day here in Mesa, Arizona. The final standings: Kermit Weeks first of the United States, Gene Soucy second, and Henry Haig third, a sweep for the United States in the first three positions. And here now is the winner, and with him, our own Leo Laudenschlager.
Congratulations, Kermit. It was a super flight. How'd you feel about it personally?
Well, just went out and had a good time. My main concern, of course, was just to stay in the box and end up on 4 minutes, and I had a sizable lead going into this flight, so I was playing it safe, but I still went out and had a good time.
Congratulations, Kermit.
And now for the presentation ceremonies, here's the sponsor of this competition, BARRON Hilton.
Okay, I got a great story here. Okay, so this is the first time I ever met BARRON Hilton, and later on, when the Living Legends of Aviation came about, BARRON was included in that, and we used to do it at the Hilton Hotel at the Beverly Hilton in Beverly Hills. And later I got to know BARRON a lot better, but this is the first time I ever met him. And the prize for this, for first place, was $10,000, and then there was something for second and third, and it also included a trip to Las Vegas and over to Hawaii, where we stayed in Hilton hotels and enjoyed our time there. But basically what happened here is BARRON, when you watch the shot of him actually giving me the check, he's looking down at a teleprompter, okay, and he kept messing up his lines, and what you're going to see in the final one here was the 5th time he did it. So I always said, I won the competition, and BARRON Hilton gave me $50,000. So here we go.
Participating in this extraordinary international competition. You've shown us how dramatic and demanding the sport of aerobatics is, and you provided us with a thrill we will long remember. I'm proud to present you with this trophy and a check for $10,000 and officially declare you the winner of the Hilton Masters of Aerobatics. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, BARRON.
You're entirely welcome.
Jack, as we take one last look at Kermit Weeks, making aerobatics look almost effortless, we must realize the United States has captured the top 3 spots in this competition. This certainly speaks well for the U.S. team's chances at the upcoming World Championships this summer.
That concludes the first Hilton Masters Aerobatics. And on this day of the very real 747 and the beautiful SST Concorde, these aerobatic pilots are a bridge back to the very beginnings of aviation, to those misty figures of World War I like von Richthofen and Rickenbacker and the Lafayette Escadrille, and later to the fighter pilots of World War II. With one hand on the throttle, one on the stick, and a foot on each pedal, and buckled into a cockpit the size of a bucket, they have eye and hand coordination and a depth of concentration that will match any athletes in the world.
Magnificent men in their flying machine. They go up to the up, they go down to the down.
For Leo Laudenschlager, this is Jack Whitaker saying so long.
So these guys were all my friends that I knew from flying the World Aerobatic Championships, and they were from all sorts of different countries. And not only did I fly in 7 World Aerobatic Championships, First one was in Czechoslovakia, then Oshkosh, Austria, Hungary, England, Canada, and then the last one I flew was in France. It was a no contest because of weather. But anyway, and over those times there, I ended up winning, 20 medals. And it was a great period in my life, and I really enjoy reflecting back on this. They also had different Masters contests, like the Hilton Masters was one, but I also flew two in Australia, I flew two in South Africa, one in Spain, and so it was a pretty cool deal. So anyway, these videos, I know you guys enjoy them, and I realized one day when I'm sitting back in my bed and I can't get out and all that stuff, I get to sit back and watch all these things and go, Kermit, you had a pretty cool life. Anyway, Kermit Weeks out for now.